G'day everybody and welcome to the Rieg and ID Wedding Show. It's episode 59 and today we're going to talk about the most frequently asked questions that we get on a wedding or even from prospective clients. Okay, so the first one.
The first one. Do you deliver all the images you shoot?
No, we don't, because we often shoot more than one
image of the same pose.
Yes, and so we're obviously going to only deliver
the best
one
one
of those.
Yeah, the best one. I think that question is actually twofold because a lot of people also ask, how many images do we capture on the wedding day? And I think with our wedding packages, we try and give an estimate in terms of how many images you can expect afterwards.
Yeah, the least.
Yeah, kind of the least amount that they will get. But I think from our point of view, it's always been a quality over quantity.
Yes, I mean, I don't think we've ever on a shoot
counted.
No. Whether it's been a wedding or a family shoot or a couple shoot, we've never counted or watched the back of our cameras to see, okay, now we've covered 200 photos.
So now we stop.
Okay, so it's a question that a lot of people
comes up all the time.
A lot of people ask it, and I think people compare prices. If someone advertises a photo shoot, they will say 1,000 images for so much money.
Yes.
Ne? And I mean, you can get your child to snap 1,000 images.
We always tease about it. We say we can give a camera to our son, put the camera on high-speed drive, and you can quickly shoot a few thousand images.
You can get 1,000 images in 15 minutes.
But that doesn't mean you're going to get quality images.
So it's not then worth more money because you get more images. It's the quality of your images that matters more than anything.
It's absolutely a quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And I think, we're talking about weddings mostly, but even if we look at a family lifestyle shoot or something like that, if we're photographing mostly a family with older children, we end up taking less pictures, where if we're photographing smaller children, we'll be taking more pictures, but we deliver roughly the same amount of images in the end. But with the smaller children, they're unpredictable.
Yes, so
and you end up taking more shots.
Yeah, you have to shoot more. And with the kids that's older, you can actually post them and you can count and you can do a photo.
And they wait for you and you photograph them.
So it's more effective.
They're not trying to do all sorts of funny tricks. Okay, so that's question number one. Question number two, who will be photographing at my wedding?
Rieg and ID.
Yes, Rieg and ID.
Yes.
Always the two of us.
Yeah. And he is Rieg and I am ID.
Yes, people have kind of got it confused that they called me
For
ID.
For years.
Yeah, but then we're trying to figure out...
What do they call me?
Yes.
Regina. That sounds almost wrong.
We'll just leave that one there.
So we both at the wedding.
Yes.
When it's in a normal day, we always shoot together on a wedding. I'm usually with the bride. Richard usually covers the venue detail, and then he goes to the groom. He's very, very good with the venue detail. And then we meet up, obviously, at the ceremony, and from there on, we shoot together.
So that's another valid point as well, because often when people compare packages and they start drilling down to the details, they start looking at time and hours and things like that. So if you have one photographer, and that one photographer is expected to cover everything from venue details through the bride, groom preparations, etc., they often start working way earlier in the morning. And then they end up photographing the poor groom like at 11 o'clock in the morning. Then he needs to get undressed so they can then photograph the venue, go to the bride, and then the reception.
Yeah, you must at least start 3 hours before, because I usually start an hour before.
Or
you usually
hours,
start at least an hour before.
Yes, that's 3 hours.
So you have to actually add it all
least
up. You get a better worth for your money.
Well, I think the biggest difference from our point is we make life easier, especially for the groom, because he can get ready at the same time as what the bride's getting ready, and then also leave for church without having to get dressed like at 11 o'clock in the morning
to get
undressed and get dressed again. So small little things, which is a big difference when you have two photographers compared to just one, but it's always me and ID.
Yeah.
So the third question is, do you photograph destination weddings?
Yes, we do.
Can we photograph destinations right now?
No, we can't, because it's illegal, and we would like to continue doing this job of ours to infinitum. So we're not gonna screw up
No, so you can't technically travel over provincial borders. But in any case, there's no big weddings happening or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have done destination weddings. We've done weddings all over South Africa. So we actually love to travel. So if you're getting married anywhere else than the Eastern Cape, chat to us. We would love to come photograph your wedding.
Yeah, obviously it's just accommodation and traveling.
But those are the things that we discuss, and we've got packages for other parts of the country where it's all included, those sort of things. So there's no need to worry about that.
So email us.
Okay. Have you shot at my venue before?
What is your venue?
Well, I mean, we often get asked that by the clients, and we're fortunate. We did our first wedding in 2005, and I mean, we've been in the Eastern Cape since the end of 2008. So we photographed at most wedding venues in the past, but there's every now and then there's a new venue, or we get asked to go to another province or something like that. And then we always do our own recce, either online beforehand if it's a place that we can't travel to easily, and then we normally try and get there either early the morning or the previous day, so we can walk around, have a look and see
the light and the time of the day that we're going to shoot. That's usually what we do, is we already scout all the locations. We're very big on planning. It's not just this corner looks nice, that corner looks nice. We know where the shots are going to be good because we know the light. It might sometimes
look like that to people if you're on a shoot, but I mean, you've actually planned it before. We've also got some nice apps that allow us, let's say if we can't be at the venue at the exact same time as we'll be shooting, we've got apps that will show you when you're there with an overlay on your screen exactly where the sun will be, so you can plan your shots beforehand. So we do our own recce. We will make sure that we're ready when we get
there. So it doesn't matter whether we've been there, we will sort it out beforehand and plan everything.
Yes. Okay, then something we get asked not all that often, but it does pop up, is do you shoot in RAW or JPEG? And then the dreaded question of can we get the RAW files?
No. You cannot do anything with the RAW files.
Look, I think there's some people who are maybe aspiring photographers and who've got a little bit of knowledge into photography and they understand the difference between a JPEG file and a RAW file. Obviously, from our point being professional photographers, we shoot everything in RAW, especially on a wedding day. I mean, even with all the planning in the world and your techniques being on point, you can't control the light all the time. So RAW allows us to just go through those images afterwards and tweak them, and also pull the maximum amount of detail out of our cameras. And I think this is where the difference comes in. This is why we don't want to give away RAW files. Because unless you're having those files edited by a professional editor with experience, they are just going to mess up the images, with no disrespect to anyone.
It's almost like giving a client, you're a artist, you're a painter. Now you give someone an outlay of the canvas with the outlay, but you're giving them the crayons and the paint.
And you're expecting the same end result.
And they must now fill it in.
I was thinking about one of our famous bakeries in town. At InFood, going there, getting all the ingredients and the recipe, and me trying to bake that same ciabatta.
It is.
It's not gonna happen. Anomaly. It's not gonna happen. So, for us, and I mean, we've covered this in our previous video last week where we discussed that post-processing is just as big part of the whole photography journey as is the taking of the photographs. And it's a skill that you develop over time. You get to know your cameras. You get to know how they work in different lighting environments. You tweak your presets and all those sort of things. So that's the reason why we don't give out RAW files, but we do capture our images in the highest possible quality.
Yes, and I mean, if you receive a JPEG,
it's a high-res JPEG.
It's a huge file. You can do big prints with it.
Yes.
So, to answer the question, no RAW files, just the finished image in the highest possible JPEG size.
Yes. Okay, do you provide videography services as well? Yes. We do. It's something that I think for me personally, my wedding journey started with videography. And I've always had a big love for video and cinematography. So yes, we definitely do videography. We often, depending on where we're working and what we're doing, we'll have a third person with us that assist us to kind of what we call do the B-cam shots and the more continuous shots and things like that. But yes, we do. And we stopped for a while there, I think between 2012 and 2016, somewhere we didn't do video. But then we quickly realized that it's better for us to be in control of the whole day. If you allow, again, with respect to some of the videographers out there, there's very good videographers out there, but then you also have the guys who pitch up there with fairly old equipment, and these massive orange lights that they put up all over the reception venue, cables, tripods, everything, and it's in all the photographs. So we rather go a little bit more of a simplistic way to still get the same shots, but capture it with better quality cameras.
Yes.
And not having to have all these. We still put up lights from time to time, but it's not nearly as obtrusive as having a massive like floodlight shining into your reception venue.
Looks like a building site.
It looks like a building site, yeah. So yes, we do videography, and I think it combines very, very nicely together nowadays, with the cameras allowing us to do both, not simultaneously, but right after the other. I often tell the clients, they will on the day not really know unless I tell them whether I'm filming or photographing.
Yes.
It's just as simple as that.
Makes such a big difference.
And especially in the church where we use our cameras on silent mode if possible, you will not know the difference unless you ask. So yes, we do. And again, I think that we just touched on it, but the next question is, how do you handle a very dark venue? Especially nowadays with some of venues being very dark, people wanting fairy lights and a very romantic feel. Yeah. So that's kind of part of a reason why we switched gear 2 years ago, and we just use Sony mirrorless cameras. And one of those reasons for us is the low light performance. It's excellent. Yeah, it's excellent. I think it's some of the best out there in terms of low light performance, and we couple them with fast, large aperture lenses so that we don't have to have big, massive lights at night at the reception. We sometimes do put up a light or two for specific parts to fill in. But like I said previously, it's not like putting up spotlights and trying to light up the whole venue. You can still preserve that romantic atmosphere.
Ambience.
Yeah, you preserve the ambience. I think that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. To the best of our ability, preserve the ambience. Because sometimes it's so dark. We were at a wedding at a JB venue a while ago, where it was so dark that the MC and all the people who had speeches couldn't read their speeches. Someone had to stand with a cell phone light on their notes so that they could read their speeches. That's how dark the venue is.
So you can hardly see the couple's faces. Yes. It is very romantic. Our eyes are amazing. So good. We adapt with our eyes so quickly. I mean, if you just sit outside in the dark for a while, you can see things that you haven't seen before. And not many lenses many cameras can do it.
They're not there yet.
But the capability of the cameras that we've got is so amazing that you can capture it without flash, without washing out, and without
unnecessary grain. That's for us. We try to capture as much of the ambience as possible without having to put in too much external or artificial lighting. Okay, question for AD. Do you touch up all the images we receive, and what do you mean by touching up?
Okay, I would say I process everything, because I think touch up is a term that people think you liquidize and you liquefy and you change their skins, and so it is more it's processing the images to make it the best way that it can look, but not manipulating.
Not manipulating. I think that's one thing that's for us. We quite. I don't want to say, but we don't like manipulating images, because in the end of the day, you still need someone needs to look at your image and still see it's
recognize you
and not think it's you 20 years younger.
It's a different story when you do a controlled, say for instance, a studio shoot, and your aim is to get 5 images and you can manipulate however you want. I mean, in a wedding, you're looking at anything between 500 and 1,000 images. You cannot manipulate. If you've changed something on the bride or on the groom, you have to do it on all the photos, otherwise it's not authentic.
Yes.
So that is why we don't manipulate. I don't manipulate images.
We process them, and we like we said earlier, we
show an example of it.
Yeah, we pull the maximum dynamic range and detail out of the image, and we make our clients look the best they can without deliberately manipulating them.
Yeah, look, I know there's a lot of filters today, and especially with
no filter.
The youngsters. I'm no 45, and I can say the youngsters. No? You can put a filter on anything. You can put a filter that your skin is flawless, that your eyes are bigger, that your lips are thicker, that your nose are thinner, that your face is thinner. It's It's so fake.
Yeah, but can I add to that as well? Again, a lot of those filters and things looks amazing when viewed on your phone.
You can never
but if you're going to print that image and put it in an album, it's going to look horrible. No. So that's why, our end product, and we've talked about the albums last week as well, our end product is to give our clients, a book or an album or something that's beautiful that they can show off and can brag with. But it needs to show them and not someone else. So yeah,
you only get married once. Look like yourself.
So we're very big on making everyone look as good as they can be without deliberately manipulating.
The entire team. I mean, you've got the makeup artist and you've got the hairdresser, and you already look so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to. We've never had a request for people that ask change my look.
No, but I mean, I think that's why we just process it enough that you make people look their best without manipulating them. And I think that's our key in that. And I mean, you can go look at all of our images on our website and our Facebook pages. That's the way we touch up our images.
The touch up will be taking out a pole or taking out.
Yeah, that often happens. I mean, sometimes we had it like yesterday afternoon. No matter which angle, which lens you use, that one thing in the background is going to stay there. So you remove that afterwards. Yeah, but you're not trying to make the person 5 sizes smaller or things like that. Yeah. Okay, so another question we sometimes get is, what if I lose my images? So it's one of those challenging things that we try and keep images as long as we can. Unfortunately, once it's delivered, it goes onto our backup drives, and those backup drives we spin up from time to time. But in the past, we've had issues where a 5 or a 10-year-old backup drive just fails, and it won't fire up again. And the cost of having those drives, the data, or trying to have those data recovered, is extremely expensive. So what we've done the last, I think, 4 years, we've been placing all our client deliverables onto Google Drive, and we give our clients that link, and we leave those images on there. We've got a massive Google Drive online. So from our point of view, that serves as an online backup.
An extra
backup for the client. So if they lose their USB stick or if they lose their link, we can just send them that link again. It also saves us the time from having to go search for that old backup drive, hoping it works, hoping we still have the cables for it, because nowadays the interfaces and everything is changing. So so for us these last few years, the best has been to use Google Backup. I firmly believe they're one of the best. I mean, there's a few out there, but they're one of the best solutions. Their stuff is backed up all over the world. And it's also easy to share with family and friends. And that's our kind of. But we also recommend to all our clients that once you get your wedding images, make a few extra copies of it. Put maybe a copy on a USB stick in your safe.
Yeah.
Leave one at your parents' house or wherever. No one can guarantee.
Backup.
Using online services, I believe, is currently the best way of backing up. And we've discussed our own backing up procedures in previous videos. So I'm not going to dig into that for now, but this is just after we've delivered to the clients.
After the fact.
Yeah. And then the last question we get, which makes our top 10 for up to now, is what type of camera and lighting equipment you use. Now, that's also a very interesting debate. And
yes, it's almost like the car retail, the people that like a BMW don't like a Mercedes, the Volvo people don't like the Audis, the Range Rovers don't like the Cruisers.
Yes. So let's make it simple. I think in last week's episode we told the story about the chef and the oven and the photographer and the camera. So at this point, I think it's a very personal thing. As I just mentioned earlier, we use Sony gear, and we love our Sony gear. We've used Canon for 14 years, if I remember correctly.
And we were very happy.
13 years, 13, 14 years we had Canon. We were very happy. At that point, when we switched to Sony was offering the best bang for buck in terms of having amazing equipment with all the stuff we needed. Where right now, again, it's one of those interesting times if you're in the photography world with the new Canon releases and the new Sony releases and which one's better. Ultimately, I think they're all brilliant. It depends on what you do with them. So from our point of view, we use Sony. We use fast aperture lenses with them, mostly from Sony, but we also use a lot of Sigma art lenses. Those lenses are incredibly sharp. I think it's some of the nicest lenses out there.
I must say.
And then from a lighting point of view...
Only prime lenses?
Prime lenses, yeah. We have one zoom. We've got one zoom, but we mostly use prime lenses. And then we have lighting from Elinchrom, which I think we've always
been... Which is the best.
Yeah, Elinchrome's lighting is just spot on, and it allows us to photograph on location with batteries. No need for power cables and things like that. And then if we need a little bit of fill-in light for LED lights, we use Roto lights, which I also believe are the best LED lights out there. So yeah, so that's just a quick answer. In our description, I've got a link to the whole equipment setup that we use on the kit site. So if you're interested in photography, you can go and have a look there. But yeah, that's our 10 questions for today. And we didn't really practice them before, and we kind of said we'll answer them as we would answer these questions when a client asks us in a consultation.
Practice.
If there's more questions that you have for us, please send us an email or comment below. And in a week or two's time, we can do a follow-up on this and add a few more questions.
I've already added a couple. So we're already at 2 new questions. So you must fill up the other 8. Please.
So thank you very much for watching.
Thanks,
it's been a
guys.
pleasure.
We really appreciate it.
Please hit the thumbs up if you like our video. It definitely helps us and it shows YouTube that you're appreciating our content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And remember, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away the Regenade Family Lifestyle or couple shoe to the value of 3,000 Rand, as well as that nomination bracelet with the free links, compliments of Gabriel's and Nomination South Africa. And I'll again put an image of it up here. And yeah, until tomorrow, have an awesome day and thank you for watching.
Cheers.